Take a clean sheet of paper and write down today's date. Then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Write them in the present tense, almost like you're submitting an order. Just write, I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own, whatever it happens to be. The goals will be financial goals, family goals, physical goals, and so on. Write down 10. Then take this list of 10 and say, if I had a magic wand and I could wave this magic wand and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Which one goal? Go over it, and usually this will jump out at you. Put a circle around that goal, and that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper. Then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this simple exercise, then you'll all be rich. Nothing can stop you but yourself. I'm going to show you the recipes and the formulas that you can use. Sometimes it just takes one choice. Remember, 87% of millionaires and billionaires are self-made. They started with nothing. Nobody is smarter than you, and nobody is better than you. If somebody else can do it, especially with all the disadvantages that many people start off with, if someone else can do it, you can do it as well. That's the proof. Abraham Lincoln once said that some become wealthy as proof that all can become wealthy. So I wanted to share with you what I call the 7 C's. The first C is the C of clarity. Clarity is my favorite word in success. It's my favorite word in business. I have done consulting for more than 1,000 corporations, large companies worldwide, companies like IBM and General Motors and PepsiCo and Bank of America. I mean, big companies. What I found is in every single situation, problems occur when the company becomes unclear about what it is they're doing or how it is they're doing it. Basically, it's clarity, lack of clarity. Now here's something else I learned. They did a study of 50 owners of companies, successful owners of companies like yourselves, and they asked them, what is the very best time management or business tool that you've ever discovered? 49 out of the 50 held up a yellow writing pad like this. This is what they did. This is how they planned their day. They made a to-do list. They wrote down everything they had to do. They always worked from a list. If you don't work from a list, it's very much like taking your hands off the wheel of your car, going down a winding road in the mountains. What happens is your life's going to go up and you're instantly going to start doing irrelevant and unimportant and useless things. At the end of the day, you'll be exhausted and accomplish nothing. The most powerful tool in the world is you, a pen, and a piece of paper. This is the greatest wealth creator in the world. The second C is the C of competence. The C of competence is very simple. You can only earn a lot of money if you're very good at what you do. One of the most important things you do is break down your work into skills. You say, what are the most important skills I need to have to be successful? Recruiting is a very important skill. Training is an important skill. Managing and motivating are important skills. Leading and supervising are important skills. So what you do is think, what are the skills that I will need to be in the top 10% of my field? You don't have to be in the top 1%, just be in the top 10%. There are no successful people who are not good at what they do. They are good at what they do because they work at it all the time. Whether you're in sports or music or chess or anything else, there's a wonderful study that basically said, studying the most successful people, these people spend 4 more hours becoming good at what they do than average people. Other people don't do it. Everybody has natural abilities, but the ones who use those abilities transform themselves by really working hard at becoming good one skill at a time. This is another thing that's really important. Don't try to be good at everything, because what happens is you just break down, overwhelm yourself, and give up. You say, oh, I tried that before. I had an experience which I'll pass on to you. When I was a young man in my 20s, I was in sales, in cold calling sales, knocking on doors every day. I was making 1 or 2 sales a week. I was living in a little rooming house with a bed and a floor and a little bathroom. I was struggling. I could tell you within $1 how much money I had in my world at that time, because it was less than $1. I'd get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and by 8 o'clock in the morning I'd be waiting when people came to work. I would knock on doors, office doors and business doors all day long. In the evenings I'd go out and knock on homes and apartments, making call after call after call. I made hundreds of calls with no sales. The first year I made more than 20,000 calls and only made a few sales, just enough to survive. Then one day I asked a question which I'm going to help you with. I said, Of all the skills, what's holding me back more than anything else? The answer was closing the sale. I couldn't get people to make a decision. So I made a decision. I still remember the time, date, and place in my little rooming house when I decided I was going to learn how to become very good at closing sales. I began to read everything I could find. I sent away for books. I did everything I could find to study the psychology, techniques, and methods of closing sales. In 1 year, my income went up 10 times and changed my life forever. The third C is the C of concentration. These are not necessarily in order. The C of concentration is your ability to focus, which we've talked about before. It's your ability to focus single-mindedly on one thing at a time and to work on that one task until it's complete. Discipline yourself not to do anything else or to become distracted by emails, bells, bips, and noises. It's just your ability to focus like a laser beam on a single task. Start and finish your most important task. Number 4 is constraints. Between where you are today and where you want to be in the future, there is always one constraint or choke point that determines the speed at which you get from here to there. That's the constraint. The art of life is to identify the constraints that are holding you back from achieving the goal you want to achieve. You say to yourself, all right, I want to achieve a particular goal, and then ask, what is the one factor that determines the speed at which you achieve that goal? Don't try to change the world. Try to change one factor. Alleviate that one factor, and that'll change your whole life. It's unbelievable. Number 5 is continuous learning and development. Dedicate yourself to becoming better and better at what you do. It must be a part of your life. You must breathe in, breathe out, and learn new things. Self-made millionaires and billionaires spend 60 to 90 minutes every day studying their field. We need new material. Warren Buffett was just relegated from number 3 to number 4 richest man in the world. Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day. He reads all the time. He's one of the richest men in the history of the world, and he and his partners all say the same thing. You've got to read, and learn all the time. One idea can make you rich, so just keep flooding your mind with new ideas. Number 6 is commitment. There's no success without commitment, without you putting your whole heart into what you're doing and doing it for a long time. If you do, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. You get up in the morning and make a decision. By gum, I am going to succeed in this business, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many hours a day. Number 7 is courage. Winston Churchill said, courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend. And courage has 2 parts. The first part is the courage to begin, to launch, to take a chance, to face failure and rejection, to try something with a great possibility that you will fail and feel embarrassed, upset, and your self-esteem will go down. The second part of courage is persistence. It's the power to keep going, pushing yourself and driving yourself. A woman I was going out with before I was married asked me, Brian, what is your best quality? I thought about that and said, I think my best quality is that I never give up. And I found that's true. I never give up, and my children never give up. It is not in our vocabulary. We never think we'll try something different, try something new, take the losses, but we never give up. So how do you develop this unshakable quality of persistence, which will guarantee your success in life? Nothing can stop you if you don't quit. If you don't quit, then the only alternative is you must succeed, and eventually you must succeed greatly. The great rule is you become what you think about, and you become what you say to yourself. So say to yourself these magic words, I never give up. If you never give up, my promise to you, my guarantee to you is that you are going to be an enormous success in the months and years ahead. I hope you are. Remember that if you want to change, take action now. Patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. Napoleon Hill. All successful men and women are highly disciplined in the important work that they do. All unsuccessful men and women are undisciplined and unable to control their behaviors and their appetites. When you develop the same levels of high personal discipline possessed by the most goal-oriented, successful people in our society, you will very soon begin to achieve the same results that they do. It's no miracle. All great success in life is preceded by long, sustained periods of focused effort on a single goal, the most important goal, with the determination to stay with it until it is complete. Throughout history, we find that every man or woman who achieves anything lasting and worthwhile had engaged in long, often unappreciated hours, weeks, months, and even years of concentrated, disciplined work in a particular direction. Fortunately, the quality of self-discipline is something that you can learn by continuous practice over and over until you master it. Once you've mastered the ability to delay gratification and keep your attention focused on the most important tasks in front of you, there's virtually no goal that you cannot accomplish and no task that you cannot complete. I have studied successful men and women for more than 40 years, and in the simplest of terms, successful men and women are those who work almost all the time on high-value tasks. Unsuccessful men and women are those who waste their time by squandering the minutes and hours of each day on low-value activities. You see, there is a crowding out principle in time and personal management. It simply says that if you spend all of your time on highly productive tasks, by the end of the day you will have crowded out all the unproductive activities that might have distracted you from your real work and what's truly important. On the other hand, if you spend your time on low-value activities, the reverse happens. Those low-value activities will crowd out the time you need to complete the tasks that can make all the difference in your life. The key to this attitude toward time and personal management is always self-discipline. There are several disciplines that you need to develop if you want to achieve your full potential. The first of these is the discipline of goals. This means that you sit down with a pad of paper, a pen, and ample time to think. You think through and then make a written list of all the things that you want to accomplish in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. You organize the list into the various areas of your life, your career, your money, your family, your health, and the other parts that are important to you. Interestingly enough, if you can be clear about your goals and write them down, there's nothing that can stop you from achieving them. But if you're not clear, that means that you haven't written them down. There's nothing that can help you. You set priorities among your goals and rewrite your list so that your most important goals are at the top. You then take a separate sheet of paper and make a list of all the things that you can think of doing right now to move you toward the attainment of your most important goals. Fully 97% of adult Americans are trying to live their lives without clear, specific written goals. This is the same as setting off across an unknown country without a roadmap. You may get somewhere eventually, but it will take you much longer, and it's far more likely that you will get lost and waste an enormous amount of time than if you planned your trip carefully with a roadmap and full information about the future terrain before you started out. The second discipline you need to develop for success is the discipline of planning. Many people think that they are too busy to plan or they don't give themselves enough time to plan. You will save 10 minutes in execution for every minute that you invest in planning. You will get a 1,000% return on your time investment by taking the time to think through in advance what you are going to do in the hours and days ahead. Churchill said, "Courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend." You need large amounts of self-discipline to deal courageously with all the fear-inducing events of your life. The fact is that everyone is afraid, and usually of many things. This is normal and natural. Often fear is necessary to preserve life, prevent injury, and guard against financial mistakes. So, if everyone is afraid, what is the difference between the brave person and the coward? The only difference is that the brave person disciplines himself to confront, deal with, and act in spite of the fear. In contrast, the coward allows himself to be dominated and controlled by the fear. Someone once said that with regard to warfare, although it applies to any situation, the difference between the hero and the coward is that the hero sticks in there 5 minutes longer. Fortunately, all fears are learned. No one is born with fears. Fears can therefore be unlearned by practicing self-discipline repeatedly with regard to fear until it goes away. By affirming, repeat the words, "I can do it," emphatically whenever you feel afraid for any reason. You can cancel the feeling of "I can't." Every time you repeat the words "I can do it" with conviction, you override your fear and increase your confidence. By repeating this affirmation over and over again, you can eventually build your courage and confidence to the point where you are unafraid. Today, in a world where an infinite number of distractions are just a few clicks or swipes away on a smartphone, staying focused at work is more challenging than ever before. Follow these 5 useful tips if you would like to become more focused and productive. Chapter 1. Limit online interruptions. When used correctly, the internet can be an incredibly powerful tool in the workplace. However, it can also become a bottomless pit of distractions that drain your time minute by minute. With so many jobs requiring you to spend part of your day working online, simply unplugging your Wi-Fi isn't an option for many people. But when you can, it is incredibly beneficial to unplug and focus solely on the task at hand. Simply muting your notifications and closing out your windows for a period each day can go a long way toward boosting your focus and productivity. If going offline isn't an option for you, consider using add-ons that block social media sites and other time-wasting sites. 2. Create a designated time for meetings. Meetings and conferences are obviously an important part of the workday for many professionals. If you've ever been focused on completing a task only to have your motivation and productivity derailed by a meeting, then you know how disruptive these meetings can be. Since meetings can tend to interrupt focus and progress, it's much better to schedule all of your meetings at a designated time rather than allowing them to continually interrupt your work at random intervals throughout the day. Similar to blocking off time for meetings, a third focus tip is to schedule daily focus hours. It really takes time to get into a groove of focusing all of your attention and effort on a single task. In many cases, you won't start doing your best work on a task until you have had the chance to sit down and focus on it for an extended period. This means that even one interruption to your progress can force you to start the process of honing in on a task and getting into the most productive groove all over again. In the same way that meetings are able to interrupt focus, anything that draws your attention away from your work or even a brief period of time can end up having a serious impact on your productivity. Scheduling daily focus hours, where you isolate yourself entirely from distractions and focus only on a single important task, can be a powerful way to ensure that you're able to get into the flow of your work and produce results without interruption. 3. Set time limits for tasks. Few things are more motivating than a deadline, even when you set the deadline for yourself. Simply placing a limit on how long it should take you to complete a task can provide you with a sense of urgency and give the task a feeling of importance that you might not have otherwise felt about the task at hand. 4. Take short breaks. Taking breaks from work to improve your focus and productivity may sound counterintuitive. It is true that breaks can interrupt your progress just like a meeting or other distractions might. However, when scheduled properly, short breaks from work can provide you with a mental refresh that allows you to reset your focus and approach the task again with a renewed sense of motivation. Few people can work an entire 8 hours without stopping and be expected to do their best work the entire way. You can certainly force yourself to power through without taking any breaks, but doing so often causes more harm than good. Rather than spending so much time focused on a task that your mind begins to tire or grow bored, schedule short breaks throughout the day to re-energize and reset your focus. These breaks can be as simple as a quick walk outside for a breath of fresh air or a trip to the water cooler for a cup of water. Just a few minutes away from work is typically all that is required to hit the mental reset button. Well, there is no real limit to how much better a person who really commits to getting better can get. Just try to be the best you can be. Never cease trying to be the best you can be. That's in your power. Because you are the architect of your destiny. You are the master of your fate. Every person is unique, with a combination of talents and inclinations that makes them different from anyone else. Finding the special situation that can most benefit from your unique capabilities is key to making your greatest contribution and enjoying the greatest rewards, both tangible and intangible. In every study of success and self-confidence, in every situation where a person enjoys high levels of self-esteem, self-respect, and personal pride, we find that they all have one thing in common, and that one thing is that each achieving man or woman is in the right place at the right time, doing exactly the work that he or she is uniquely qualified to do. Not only are these people the happiest and highest performing men and women in our society, but you personally will never be truly happy and truly satisfied until you take your rightful place among them. As Emerson said, "The power which resides in man is new in nature, and none but he knows what that is which he can do, nor does he know until he has tried." Thomas Edison said, "If we all did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves." Within you right now is the power to do things you never dreamed possible, and this power becomes available to you just as soon as you can change your beliefs. Your limits are determined solely by your own beliefs and your own confidence in what you think is possible for you. Visualize and think about yourself as you would ideally like to be, not just as you are. A good technique for building self-confidence is the use of positive visualization. The more emotion with which you visualize, the faster the visualization will emerge in your reality. There are 4 parts of visualization that you can learn and practice to assure that you use this incredible power to its best advantage all the days of your life. The first aspect of visualization is called frequency. This refers to the number of times that you visualize a particular goal as achieved or of yourself performing in an excellent way in a particular event or circumstance. Repeat a clear mental picture of your very best performance or result. The more rapidly it will appear as part of your reality. The second element of visualization is the duration of the mental image. It's the length of time that you can hold the picture in your mind each time you replay it. When you deeply relax, you can often hold a mental picture of yourself performing at your best for several seconds and then longer for several minutes. The longer you can hold your mental picture, the more deeply it will be impressed into your subconscious mind and the more rapidly it will express itself in your subsequent performance. The third element of visualization is vividness. There seems to be a direct relationship between how clearly you can see your desired goal or result in your mind and how quickly it comes into your reality. This element of visualization is what explains the powers of the law of attraction and the law of correspondence. The vividness of your desire directly determines how quickly it materializes in the world around you. Now, here's an interesting point. When you set a new goal for yourself, your image or picture of this goal will usually be vague and fuzzy. But the more often you write it and review it and repeat it mentally, the clearer it becomes for you. Eventually, it becomes crystal clear. At that point, the goal will suddenly appear in your world exactly as you imagined it. The fourth element of visualization is intensity. It's the amount of emotion that you attach to your visual image. In reality, this is the most important and powerful part of the visualization process. Sometimes, if your emotion is intense enough and your visual image is clear enough, your goal will immediately come true. Of course, the elements of frequency, duration, vividness, and intensity can help you or hurt you. Like nature, the power of visualization is neutral, like a two-edged sword. It can cut in either direction. It can either make you a success or make you a failure. Visualization brings you whatever you vividly and intensely imagine, whether good or bad. Continually feed your mind with clear, exciting, emotional pictures. Remember, your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions.